Heisman Trophy winner Tim Tebow is set to appear in the Super Bowl, but he won't be on the field. Instead, he will star in a pro-life TV ad, along with his mother Pam, who says she defied her doctors years ago by choosing not to have an abortion. Instead, she gave birth to Tim. Victims' rights attorney Gloria Allred now says the claims in the ad may not be true, and she is threatening to go after CBS if it airs the spot. Gloria Allred joins me now. In a moment, we'll have the other side. Gloria, thanks so much for being here. All right, so on what do you base your assertion that Tim Tebow and his mother Pam may not be telling the truth?
Well, I'm not saying they're not telling the truth. What I'm saying is, if in fact the ad, as it airs, and none of us have seen it yet, if in fact this ad does not also contain the information that abortion was illegal, was a crime in the Philippines at the time that Ms. Tebow had to make her decision or her choice, then I think it could be very misleading, because at the time in the Philippines, abortion was a crime, and a person who received an abortion could be sent to prison for 2 to 6 years, and a doctor who performed an abortion could be sent to prison and could also lose his or her license to practice medicine.
Why is that relevant?
Information needs to be in the ad. Otherwise, I think it's misleading, because no woman should have to choose between an illegal abortion, and by the way, it is still illegal in the Philippines to have an abortion, and taking a pregnancy to term when it might present a risk to the fetus or to the woman's life. That's why we need safe, legal, affordable, and available abortions in the United States.
But Gloria, let me ask you, because
my
review of the law suggests that yes, it was illegal then and now, but there is an exception if it's necessary to save the life of the mother. And according to all the reports, including from the New York Times and other sources, Mrs. Tebow was advised that she needed to have an abortion to save her life, and in the face of that, she declined to, and thankfully had a healthy baby boy.
Well, it's my understanding there was no exception under the law in the Philippines at the time, but if, in fact, there was such an exception, then that should be stated in the ad. I think everyone needs to know all of the facts.
But that's
and
not
the
practical.
Truth,
let me just get your response to that.
Important.
You can't have, I mean, it costs $2 million to get time on the Super Bowl. They're just coming out to tell their story. Like, she chose life, and that's fine. I mean, you don't object to her choosing life, right? I mean, even if you are a pro-choicer, you don't like abortion, right? You're not trying to encourage abortions, and neither are they. They just want to tell their story. What's your response to that?
I do support a woman's right to choose to have an abortion or not to have an abortion. Absolutely, I believe in that. But I don't think that any religiously inspired, sugar-coated ad about the right to choose abortion should be airing in the Super Bowl. But if it is airing in the Super Bowl, and if people want to see that rather than football, and I think most people would prefer football rather than advocacy or politically inspired ads during the Super Bowl, if they're going to do that, I think they need to include all of the relevant facts.
Why do you care if it's religiously inspired? You don't know whether it's sugar-coated because you haven't seen it. But why do you care whether it's religiously inspired? I mean, if she chose not to have an abortion because she doesn't believe in that because of her religious beliefs, why do you care? I mean, what's wrong with her just going out there and saying, I chose life and it worked out beautifully for me? And then the other side could come out and say the opposite if they wanted to. But that's, as you know, that's the bedrock of the First Amendment. The answer to speech you don't like is not less speech, it's more speech.
Well, absolutely, and I believe in that. And I would defend anybody's right to say that they believe in mandatory motherhood, compulsory motherhood for women, if that's what they believe. But on the other hand, personally, I think CBS was right years ago to decide not to include advocacy ads during the Super Bowl. But if they are including it, then they need to have truth in advertising. They need to have all of the facts in their ads, and they need to disclose this is about a woman's religious belief, and it was a crime to have abortions in the Philippines at the time. But
you make a lot of assumptions. You make a lot of assumptions behind that ad, and no ad can tell the entire story about the law as it stands in the Philippines. I mean, it's just a practical impossibility, Gloria, which would lead many to say that this is a PR stunt by you.
Well, I think it's important to protect the right of women to have safe and legal, affordable, available abortions in the United States. In more than 85% of all counties in the United States, even though it is legal, it's not available to poor women. It's not available often to rural women.
But now you're kind of off on a soapbox. But, you're kind of doing what you don't want them to do in the Super Bowl. In any event, we're going to see CBS plans on airing it for now, is how we've been told. I got to cut you short because I got to go to Jim Daly and give him equal time.
This is about life and death. And that's what's important, because women have died, and many still are dying from illegal abortions.
Understood.
And that's why we have to know that's not really a good choice.
Gloria Allred, thanks for being here. And now for the other side, Jim Daly is the president and CEO of Focus on the Family. They paid a lot of money to get this ad on the air. Jim, I'll let you take a swing at the many comments we just heard from Gloria to start it off.
Well, Megan, first of all, congratulations on your new show.
Thank you.
There's so many things there that Ms. Allred was talking about. One of the things, the Guttmacher Clinic, which is an arm of Planned Parenthood, they produced a 16-page report in 2005 talking about how easy it is to get abortion in the Philippines at the time, from about 1970 forward. So it took us about 3 seconds to pull up that research. So I would encourage Ms. Allred to simply go to Planned Parenthood and the Guttmacher Institute and take a look at their own research. But what's your response to her claim that
this is a religiously inspired and sugar-coated ad?
Well, nobody has seen the ad. I think about 8 people at Focus on the Family have seen it, and the CBS executive team. So I think I'd encourage people to wait to see the ad. What we're trying to do is provide an inspirational story, as you said, really providing the other side of this debate. The pro-choice people talk about choice, but it seems like all they're about is abortion. Let's celebrate life. Let's change the culture in this country to say we want to try to save as many children as possible from abortion. And this ad is simply going to spark that debate by saying, let's celebrate family, let's celebrate life.
Gloria
and that seems to be what they're all after.
Gloria raises the point that the Super Bowl, in her view, is not the place for this, that normally CBS has not allowed advocacy ads to appear in the Super Bowl, and no exception should be made for your ad. Your response to that, sir?
Well, it seems that every time we try to talk about this, that you can't talk there. So it's not good for primetime television. It's not good for the Super Bowl. It's not good for NASCAR. I mean, when can we talk about this? Let's go ahead and start the debate. I think it's up to CBS if they would like to put an ad forward and pay the money. CBS can determine if it's done in a tasty way. So I would say let's just go ahead and have the discussion. That's all we wanted to do, was start the discussion. And I think here in America we could do better than we're doing, than killing 1 million babies a year. And let's try to do that. How can we get started to say let's save some?
Jim, you wanted to get the discussion started. You have successfully done that in a tasty way. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.